For me, the Labyrinth is a practice in dichotomy and the marriage of opposites. And there are so many different ways of getting at this in Eastern philosophy and in modern science and all this. But just to give a few examples, I think the epitome of wisdom, the epitome of true adulthood is, as we've talked about a little bit, the ability to hold mutually exclusive things within you and not make a rash decision one way or another, to not be the cutting knife that says this or that in daily life. The Labyrinth, I already hinted at the fact that it is in some ways chaotic. You're wandering. Now I'm heading toward it. Now I'm heading away from the center. Now I'm heading left, right. I'm being whipped. You could almost imagine whiplash. It's chaotic and it's order. If you look at a labyrinth like this one, your brain immediately and falsely thinks that it is symmetrical, and it's not quite symmetrical, right? We use a term like a quadrant. This one's cut into 4, but it isn't literally quadrants, because otherwise the labyrinth wouldn't work, because you have to be able to permeate those boundaries. They can't be true boundaries because you're walking in through the whole thing. So I've said this with you two a lot, but my favorite thing about the labyrinth is the diametric opposition that happens when you look at a labyrinth and your conscious mind says, oh, that labyrinth will take me 3 minutes to walk. It's tiny. It's only 15 feet across. And then the internal experience, the time that's felt, that isn't the mundane time, stretches a heck of a lot longer than that. But even the literal time, the mundane physical time, takes longer than you think it will. Your brain inaccurately makes a judgment on how long this experience will take, and the interplay between that opposition is a healthy stretch between body and mind, between soul, etc. And if I may, just one last thing is we haven't even talked about the center of a labyrinth.
The inner sanctum.
The inner sanctum is a term I often use. In Jungian psychology, it would be the transcendent function. There is nothing literally vertical at the center of a labyrinth, usually, and you don't want to fill that with pre-described or prescribed altars to this or that. That really distracts from it being a vessel for meaning. But whatever the metaphor you're using, if you are wanting to connect with people who have passed on to the other side of the veil, the center, we intuitively know, is where you are closest to that. There's a verticality that disrupts
like an ascension,
that. An ascension moment,
verticality.
Right? And the meandering path around that, when you're moving further away, like in life, is the necessary time to prepare yourself for that transcendent moment. So not to rush right there when we are not ready for it. Joseph Campbell has a fascinating talk on mythology and schizophrenia, and says that shamanism, for instance, yoga, labyrinth walking, Tai Chi, these are all ordered, structured, guided systems that help you dip your toe into the collective waters of the unconscious, because schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, crisis are when we are not prepared for that encounter and we do not have a system, and so we try to dip our toe in and we plunge head forward into those waters unprepared. There's very little danger of that with a labyrinth because it makes sure you can't get to that center without preparing yourself.